Hey there and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that really affects every single one of us every single day, payment security. In a world that runs on digital transactions, figuring out how our financial data is protected isn't just for the experts. It's something you should know about if you've ever, clicked buy.
Okay, you know the drill. We've all been there. You find exactly what you're looking for online, you pop it in your cart, you head to checkout, and you hit that big, shiny Pay Now button. It feels so simple, right? Almost automatic.
But in that tiny moment, that split second, a whole series of complex security events kicks off behind the scenes to keep your information safe. So how does that even work? And what's really stopping your sensitive data from ending up in the wrong hands? Well, that's what we're going to dig into right now.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll get into why your data is such a hot target. Then, we'll look at the powerful shield built to protect it, called PCI DSS. After that, we'll see why security has to be a continuous cycle, not a one-time thing. And we'll wrap up by seeing why this is so much more than just a checklist. All right, first up, we really need to understand why this matters so much. The truth is pretty simple, actually. Your payment data is one of the most valuable things out there for cybercriminals. They are always on the hunt for it.
You know, as we've moved more and more online, what security pros call the attack surface, basically all the places a hacker could try to get in, it's just exploded. It's not just about a single server anymore. Think about it. Weak spots can pop up everywhere. From the little card reader at your local coffee shop, to the e-commerce website you're on, the cloud platforms holding the data, even employee laptops, or, you won't believe it, old-school paper records. Every single one of these is a potential doorway for an attacker.
And look, when one of those doors gets kicked open, the fallout for a business is, well, it's nothing short of catastrophic. I mean, we're talking about huge financial losses from fraud, crushing fines from regulators, and a complete loss of customer trust that can absolutely tank a company's reputation. The stakes really couldn't be any higher. Okay, so with all that risk, how does the global payment world actually protect itself? Well, it turns out there's this powerful, unified shield that's designed specifically to defend against these kinds of threats. And that shield is called the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. You'll hear it called PCI DSS for short. Now, it's not just some software you install or one simple rule. Think of it more like a global framework, a unified game plan that takes a holistic approach. It looks at the whole picture, the people, the internal processes, and the technology, to build these strong layers of defense around payment data. But this next part is maybe the most important idea to grasp. Putting these defenses in place isn't some project you do once and then forget about. It's an ongoing commitment. Because, let's face it, the bad guys are always changing their tactics. And this is the perfect way to picture it. See, real security isn't a straight line with a finish line. It's a cycle, a loop that keeps going, with 4 key phases that all feed into each other. Assess, remediate, report, and then monitor and maintain. Let's just quickly walk through them. So step 1 is assess, and it's just common sense, right? You can't protect something if you don't even know you have it or where it is. This phase is all about doing a deep dive, finding every single place payment data lives, mapping out how it moves around the company, and taking a good, honest look at how strong or weak your defenses are. Then comes remediate. Okay, you found the weak spots, now you gotta fix them. And you gotta do it fast. This means patching systems that are out of date, making your security controls stronger, and, this one is huge, getting rid of any sensitive data you just don't need anymore. The less data you're holding on to, the less there is to steal. Simple as that. All right, so after you've done all that hard work, you have to report it. This is where you formally document everything and prove it to the banks and the big payment brands like Visa and MasterCard. It's the official thumbs up that shows you're meeting the security standard. And finally, we land on what might just be the most important step of all: monitor and maintain. This, right here, is what separates the companies that are truly secure from the ones just going through the motions. It means you're constantly watching your systems, double-checking your security controls, and making security a real part of how you do business every single day. That way, you're protected all year, not just on the day of your audit. And all of this brings us to a really critical point. When you embrace that continuous cycle, you start to see that security is much bigger than just a simple checklist. You start to understand how all the pieces of this security puzzle really fit together. This is such a great way to see that PCI DSS doesn't exist in a bubble. It's a key part of a much bigger system. It's like having multiple locks on your door. PCI DSS is one of those locks. It protects the overall environment. But then you have other standards for other things. PTS secures the physical hardware, like the card readers. SSF makes sure payment software is built securely from the ground up. And P2PE encrypts data the second it's captured. You see? Altogether, they create this really tough, multi-layered defense.
So at the end of the day, it really just boils down to two different ways of thinking. On one side, you've got the checklist mindset. That's all about last-minute scrambles, temporary fixes, and it almost always leaves dangerous gaps wide open. But on the other side, you have the continuous mindset, the one that's built on that four-phase cycle. That's what really lowers your risk of a breach, makes your business run smoother, and builds that one thing that's priceless, your customers' trust.
And this quote really just sums it all up perfectly. PCI DSS should be seen as a framework for actually protecting data, not just some annoying annual requirement you have to get through. It's a shift from simply checking a box to a real commitment to security.
So, the next time you're online and you click that Pay Now button, maybe just take a second to think. Is the journey that your data is about to take, is it part of a secure, continuous cycle, or is it just relying on a checklist somebody ticked off months ago? It's a question that matters more than you might think.
Thanks for tuning in.